Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Taking Care of Business. You need this show this week because these are rough times, and people are in search of answers on how to deal with these rough times. So we have searched the globe and found the leading expert on how to help you. So welcome. This is Taking Care of Business. You are probably listening to us on either tcbradio.com or 89.7 FM from the Abrams Communication Center, or you're checking us out on iTunes, and we have Mabel Katz with us. So before we do anything, go to your computer, okay, and type in MABELKATZ, and you'll see maybe 400,000 entries on Google. So anyway, welcome to the show. So Mabel Katz. It is a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, she's everywhere.
Honor.
She's everywhere. Facebook, MySpace, Amazon, just,
trying to catch up with all of you.
I think it's askmabelkatz.com. I mean, there's hundreds of websites. If you can find her, you're not looking.
Or you are misspelling.
Exactly. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here live in person.
Thank you so much.
It is a rare treat to have someone who's got the expertise and knowledge that you have, and to share it with all of those people out there listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here to meet you and your audience.
Well, so how does somebody go from accounting to doing what you do? First of all, so tell us a little bit about yourself. You're from Argentina, which is very cool.
I'm Jewish. We're born in Argentina. I became an accountant. I have 2 degrees in Argentina, license in business administration and accounting, CPA. And I practice that as an accountant in Los Angeles, California, where I live for 26 years now.
And I bet you they got some taxes out there.
Yes. And I decided to let go. I've been kind of letting go of my profession little by little, but last year, 2008, was my last year preparing taxes and doing accounting, to really dedicate to what I'm doing now, that is hopefully inspiring people around the world and waking up consciousness about the power we all have to change our life without depending on anything or anybody outside of ourselves.
Well, before we get to all that really cool stuff,
yes,
you have some involvement with authorship.
Yes.
And you've got some involvement with the media, radio and TV. So let's talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
So we're both Jewish authors involved in the media. So look, there we got so much in common.
There you go.
But let's hear about your...
Yes. I've been, like I said, an accountant. And one day I woke up. Like I always tell people, I always was the out-of-the-box accountant. I wasn't, I used to say to people, if you're looking for a normal accountant, don't call me. But
sounds like Mel Brooks, Abby Normal.
There you go. So what happened is that when I started my own search and I discovered things that helped me, I said, I have to share with people. I have to tell them, I have to shake them and weigh them up. And especially when I found what I teach now, I said, I have to tell people. I call it The Secret, like 4 or 5 years ago when I wrote my first book. And I said, I cannot keep it. When I was a little girl in my house, nobody told me a secret because I would run and tell people. So I said, if there was a secret, they would actually say, don't tell Mabel. So I didn't change. I grew up, but
So is that why you became an accountant, not a lawyer?
Maybe. Yes, cannot keep secrets. You're right. So what happened is that at one point, I started having a radio program, and people would call me and say, Mabel, where can we read more of what you are telling us? And there wasn't any book, not even in English at that time, about what I teach. So I said, I have to write a book. I have to write a book. And I did it. I used to stay 2, 4 in the morning, writing, putting that time in writing the book.
What was the name of the book?
The Easiest Way.
Okay. How long did it take you to write it?
It took me more than a year because I actually didn't do it continuously. It wasn't like, okay, I'm writing a book, Maybe it would be 2 or 3 months that I didn't do anything. And suddenly I say, I have to go back to writing a book. Imagine tax seasons, I couldn't write, the book. So there were some pauses, in the middle. But I think a year or a year and a half it took me, really. It's not a very big book, very easy to read.
It's a big book of ideas.
Not yes.
Because there's different versions
it's
of big.
Yeah. Small in size, but big in inspiration.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you learn about yourself from writing the book?
I learned that whatever you do with passion, you can do it. I could tell you I'm not a writer, but I can write whatever is, a passion. I can sell you anything that is my passion. Maybe I cannot sell anything else, or I'm not consider myself a salesperson, but definitely I can sell you whatever I believe, whatever I'm passionate about. So I think that applies to everybody.
Okay. So you talked about the radio show first, and then you said the book kind of came out of the radio show, but you've kind of walked away from telling me a little bit more. Tell me about the radio show and when was it on? And
yes. So I used to have my radio show on Saturday nights.
Okay.
10 p.m. to 12 midnight.
Okay.
And I used to have these followers that would tell me things like, Mabel, for me, Saturday nights is like really going out. I just get ready and I sit down in front of the radio and I wait for your show, like this big thing
like
for
the
me.
Old days of radio.
On the Saturday nights. Because people found hope. People found different ways of looking at life, problem solving, ideas, tools for problem solving. And I think I gave them some peace. Some people would then tell me that they would fall asleep during the show, but they would wake up happy. They would fall asleep, with the radio on. He says, and on Sunday mornings, I'm always getting up happy, and I don't know why.
The show was a call-in show?
Yes. People actually I had open lines, yes.
And what was the sort of the kinds of questions they would ask you? What were the problems that they were facing? What were the challenges that they were overcoming?
Well, mainly family, what to do with kids, many times it was about money, lack of money or a job or what to do. But regular, now I travel the world with this, and the questions are always the same, no matter where I am. And the issues and the problems and the challenges are all the same, no matter, where we are coming from or where we live.
Are the problems worse today than they used to be? Because the world seems to be more complicated. You have, in the old days, there was just a phone. And when people called you and it was busy, it was busy.
Yes.
Now there's, text messaging and cell phones and landlines. And it's not just the U.S. mail. There's FedEx and UPS and fax machines and messenger services, and we're pretty much available all the time.
Rich, I just flew to New York from Los Angeles, and they offer internet on the plane, and I said, no way, I want some time off, please. At least before, we used to fly and we were off the phone, off the internet. Now we have everything available, even when we fly. You can see the pros and the cons of that, but I think that is just too much. It's hard for me to catch up. So many emails, so many websites, like you said, so many social networking out there. How do you do time-wise? That I find myself challenging. I'm trying to see how to manage all that.
So how do people find balance? Because in many ways, the world is sort of like potentially destabilizing the people. There's all these things. Everything's more complicated. Everything's more technical. Everything's more specialized. In the old days, you went to a doctor, and the doctor looked you over and said, all right, you need this, you need this. Now the doctor says, I don't know, you need a guy for that, you need a guy for this, and someone else for that.
Or go to the internet to read about it.
So how do people center themselves amidst all of these challenges? There's money challenges like there's never before. Things are much more expensive. If you're not keeping up with the times, you're really more likely to be left behind. If you don't really read up on things, if you're not helping yourself evolve, It's like being stagnant today isn't as easy as it used to be. Like maybe 50 years ago,
you catch up.
you know, you just
could catch
it
up.
was okay. You know, you slid through life and it was a little bit easier. But now you can't. Sliding is not an option anymore. You got to keep up with the pack a little bit.
Yes. Well, one of the things that I talk, Rich, is about letting go.
Okay.
That's kind of the message, you know, because when you let go instead of resisting, they said that what you resist persists. When you choose to let go instead of resisting, instead of reacting to things, instead of thinking, you find that things kind of accommodates, that you are at the right place at the right time somehow. Maybe you will not be able to explain how that happened, and you might not notice as you go, but then sometimes, you know, looking back, you say, how did that happen? You know, you want to bring, in the midst of all this that we are talking about, you want to bring that peace of mind, that place of peace that it doesn't depend on anything that is happening around you, that you could be at peace no matter what is going on.
But too many people hold on fiercely to the status quo because they're afraid.
Yes.
Because they have the anxiety of change.
Yes.
How do you help people break through their anxiety? Because sometimes I notice, like as a lawyer, people stay in very bad situations, whether it's in family situations, whether it's in failing businesses, whatever it is, they hold on tight to a sinking ship. And you watch, they know that the ship is sinking, and whoa, there they go.
Yes.
And they're sinking. And just as like you can't own a vinyl record store anymore because the business is gone, or certain things have just changed. And I've seen how people who used to make a lot of money in old style businesses, let's say, for example, you had a cassette store or a vinyl record store, well, all that's gone. And if you try to cater to the specialized market, you can't hold on anymore. How do you help people say, look, you know intellectually that you need to change. You must evolve. But they're afraid. And they know they got to do it. How do you help them over that hurdle? How do you get them to jump?
Sometimes we have to get too deep in order to change. But one of the first things we need to realize is that we don't know as much as we think we know.
Oh, that's for sure.
Okay, and that's what it got us where we are today. That's what creates wars, thinking that you know, and or that you are right, or that you want to have the last word. So sometimes we have to ask ourselves, do I want to have the last word or be happy? You understand? So there are some things that we need to learn again. We have to be conscious that we don't know as much as we think we know. And when you let go of that, I have to know, I have to be perfect, I have to do what I have to do, things happen for you instead of you thinking that you have to make things happen. So you kind of take 100% responsibility that everything that is happening to you, you attracted to. Sometimes it's very at the subconscious level. You don't really are aware of everything that you are thinking, and you don't know how it is that you are attracting certain things, but definitely it is your thoughts. That we usually call it our memories, our own programs that are always playing in the back. Sometimes, the volume is down, but it's always playing. So I'll give you an example. In Buenos Aires, I had a young person in the audience, and he got up and he says, Mabel, based on what you are telling us, so then we don't have to talk to our friends and tell them how we feel and explain how, what works and what doesn't work. And my answer was, could you please look around you? And so after he looked, I said, do you notice we are all much older than you? And he said, yeah, and, with this strange face. And I said, we all try that. That doesn't work. That's why we are here, taking this seminar. I think that sometimes we are, too stubborn to realize that we don't know until we are not really in pain, till we are not really hurting. We are not willing to change. We are not really to take 100% responsibility, or we are not willing to do what it takes. And what it takes is that we all go through the fear. But the difference is between, the ones that feel the fear and do it anyway, and the ones that say, no, this is too scary, I'm going to stay here. And our comfort zone is what it gets us stuck. And then we look outside and we think that other people are lucky. But what we don't know is how much the other people stretch, what they did when we weren't looking, and things like that, because it does take, it is sometimes fearful, scary. I many times said, I'm asking you to trust your heart more than your intellect, because your heart never lies. And when you do that, you cannot go wrong. But that's not what we were taught. We were taught, let's get all these degrees, let's be really smart.
Take the CPA exam, bar exam.
Yes, yeah. You can make a very good accountant. You're good with numbers, you know how to do 1 + 1. I think you should be an accountant. So, again, it's following your heart, doing what works for you.
You are listening to Taking Care of Business with Richard Solomon, my very special guest, Mabel Katz, MabelKatz.com, in case you want to check her out. And you can Google that. And she's got a phenomenal website. She's got a great book. She's a media personality, and she's on Facebook and all kinds of places, and LinkedIn. So if you can't find her, call me, and I'll find her for you. So the email for us at Taking Care of Business is TCB Radio, WCWP, at yahoo.com if you want to send us any kind of fan mail or contact us. But if you want to talk to Mabel, go to her website, and there'll be all kinds of stuff on there. And she's got a schedule of all of her future events and where she's going. And she's going to some really cool places. And go check it out. She's got a whole thing. In fact, you can see what she's done for the last year and a half. And you know what? It's pretty spectacular. So
thank you.
I noticed that King Solomon, what the Bible teaches us, King Solomon, when he asked, as a leader, he didn't ask for money, he didn't ask for power, he asked for wisdom, because he knew that the one thing that would help him was knowledge.
Yes.
And, to follow...
Well, it's different than wisdom, huh?
Well, no, he wanted wisdom is knowledge with experience.
Yes.
Right. And, when you're talking about people being lucky, there's an expression that luck is really the intersection between opportunity and preparation. So there is no such thing as luck, so much as having experience and realizing how to harvest that.
Yes. And overcoming, looking at your problems as opportunities, no test or challenges, or really not even calling them problem. They say that the problem is a problem only if you say so. And, and a problem is not a problem, but how you react to the problem is the problem. See, that's what it gets us in trouble. That problems are going to come. I'm not here to tell you how not to have problems. I'm telling you, in the middle of everything, you can be at peace. And then the solution comes.
But aren't there some people who'd rather be distracted? It seems, though, that there are people who have problems, or they create more problems because it takes the focus off of what they really need to do to move forward.
Or people love to tell stories, the drama. We are addicted to thinking, and we are addicted to drama. So we love to tell people, how we are so, how bad luck we have, and how the world is so unfair, and look at things like outside of ourselves, when we really, it's everything about memories, programs of our own, the way we see the world, everything is through this filter, our own programs and our own memories, our beliefs, opinion, judgments. And what happens is that when you look at the world like that, you think that, you are so little, so impotent. And then when you talk about those things with people, you attract more of what you don't want. Instead of letting go, instead of not engaging with the thing, no, we talk about it. And we tell everybody about the problem. So we attract more of that. And the idea is, hey, we are not victims. We are responsible. We are attracting with our thoughts. I know that it's hard to believe, that certain things it could be, that because we attracted. But Rich, when I found this, I found freedom for the first time in my life. It was the first time I really felt free. Because I realized if I am responsible, I created it, I can change it. See, we are always thinking that there is somebody else that needs to change, so we are happy. There is something out there that we need to have to be happy. That something has to happen for us to be happy. Hey, we can be happy now.
You need to be happy now.
And did you notice that people that are happy, things happen to them? Those are the ones that maybe sometimes we call lucky. Because what happens is when you are happy, you are not an obstacle in your own life. You understand? You make yourself on the side and you allow the flow to take you.
How much of this is like karma, or what is the intersection between karma and just letting go?
Okay.
How does that balance between the two?
Very well. Maybe I will explain maybe something that you might agree or not. But the way that I present it is like this. Everything that happens, you could say, is karma. So everything that is happening right now, it has nothing to do with what is happening right now. It's just those memories, those past experiences, the programs, the beliefs. So everything in our life is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to let go. It's coming back because it just happened before and we didn't solve it. That's why it's coming back. Now we are going to use the same program we used last time to resolve it. It didn't work, but no, let's try it again to see if this time works. And it's not. You want to let go so that inspiration can come into your life and solve that problem. Not you. You don't want to use your old programs to resolve something.
Well, you know what the definition of insanity is?
Yes.
It's doing the same thing over and over, but expecting a different result.
Exactly. Or asking, I always said, if you ask the right question, you're going to get the right answer. You ask the wrong question, wrong answer. Why me is the wrong answer. The wrong question.
How much of this gestalt is really media influenced? Because we tend to have a society that worries too much about blame, who's right.
Yes.
We don't really worry about like how to fix things. It's whose fault it is. Like, all right,
Exactly.
The budget's out of whack right now. All right, whose fault is it? Like, who blew it? And you look to point fingers and yell at people, but we spend 90% of the time on that, and nobody comes up with, solutions or ideas or something new. And again, just like you're saying, you have a problem, so what do? We decrease spending and increase taxes, and we know that doesn't really work.
Yes. Well, but see, that's what we do in automatic, okay? We go into the blame. That's what we learn, and we learn it really well. So the first thing when something comes out, instead of taking 100% responsibility, we are saying whose fault it is, exactly like you said. So what taking 100% responsibility really is the easiest way, as I call it. That's the name of my book. Because again, when you change, everything changes. Things, your kids will find their answers. The government will find a way to balance the budget. Things are going to happen only because you were willing to take 100% responsibility and saying, whatever is in me that created this, I'm sorry. Really, this is about, and I'm not coming from guilt or we are sinners. I'm coming from responsibility. It's very different. And maybe it has something to do with the karma. Now, what we need to realize is that public news is a business. It's not a public service.
Oh, it's not a public service.
But we think they are there to serve us, to keep us informed, because imagine, we need to be informed. So we are the ones buying those news. They are just offering like any other product. And here we are, I buy that one. Yeah, we are in recession. Yeah, this is the worst crisis ever. Oh my goodness, people are losing their job. And then tomorrow we come to work and we are fired. So what is it that we are buying? We are free to choose. So what is it that we are choosing to believe?
Well, we're choosing negativity, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Because
yes.
it's funny, just, at home, I refuse to watch news before I go to sleep.
Yes.
I'll watch comedy, I'll watch cartoons.
Yes.
My wife thinks it's hysterical that I'd rather watch Bugs Bunny than the news.
Yes, good for you.
But I'd rather go to bed smiling than hear about someone got killed, an ATM robbery, there's a fire, this problem, that problem, weather, and sports.
Yes. Yes, basically.
But how do we get the news to change their thinking about selling negativity? Because I'm sure happy stories sell better than bad stories if you really think about it, or no? No, it's all about, I'd rather watch the fire.
Rich, go and try to find sponsorship for happy news. They're going to tell you, that doesn't work. Listen, do you think that the news will want to change if they are making money?
But
Listen, they have ratings because we give them the ratings. They make money, more sponsorship, more money comes because they have ratings. So, it's this vicious circle. But I'm not saying not to watch the news. I don't watch them either. But because you really create your own reality. But my point is, if you're going to watch it, don't engage.
But is it maybe that people watch it to reinforce their already...
Yeah, I'm going to show... Yeah, I'm right.
The world really
things are right. Yeah,
terrible.
I'm right. I'm
God.
telling you. Yes.
See, look.
Yes,
here you go.
yes.
Here's proof.
Yes, exactly. And I'm going to tell you... I'm going to give you a couple of examples. When I was in Spain, I had 3 ex-millionaires in the crowd.
Ex.
And the last one that lost, the fortune with this last economic crisis, he told me something, he shared with the whole group, something amazing. He says, Mabel, now I am a humble person. Before I thought, I knew it all. And I'm going through a terrible divorce. And now when I see my daughter, I enjoy every second when I'm with her. He says, for me, those things before weren't important. I notice things now, around me that I never saw they were there. So these are amazing times. These are really, really amazing times. It all depends on how you want to take it. What is it that you are seeing? What are you actually paying attention to? When you go to a party, maybe in one corner, everybody dancing and having a good time. There is another room where people are fighting and then, I'm going to ask you, Rich, how was the party? Oh, wonderful. We had so much fun and we danced. And then the other person that was in the other room said, it was terrible. They got into fights and the police came. Listen.
And the food was bad.
Everything is happening at the same time. So what are you paying attention to? Because at this same time, there are so many opportunities out there to make money. There are so many opportunities. If we don't keep doing the same thing, expecting, if we keep doing, expecting different results, it's not going to work. This requires a change of paradigm. Something happens to you, and sometimes it's a crisis that really wakes you up and you say, wait, maybe I don't know as much as I thought I knew. And maybe there is a different way of seeing life, or maybe there are other ways. So that's what this is. This is a bucket of water for some people that will never wake up with an alarm clock. You understand?
Maybe a baseball bat.
Or the baseball bat. Yeah, I call it the bucket. But yes, it's a baseball. You understand that a lot of people will not wake up with an alarm clock. But this is the only way to wake them up. To really touch maybe their pockets or touch something that will shake them, that they will have to start making some changes in their life, because this is not what life is all about. I
actually see that as a lawyer, and I'll share. I often tell clients, because I do a lot of business creation, business development, marketing, and a lot of times I'll say to people, you can make money in chaos. And, and some of them listen to that. But I also notice that sometimes you'll see clients, and I don't know, they don't listen. They're on a path of failure. And they just hold on, and it's sort of like they need to crash to zero before you can have them be like the phoenix and rise above, the ashes.
And there is nothing you can do. People are free like we are, and we all are choosing.
But what's sad is that, sometimes you'll warn clients, don't do this. And they end up in criminal court because you say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Don't fight with the neighbors, and then all of a sudden, there's something at 2 o'clock in the morning, the police are called, someone gets hauled off, they're cuffed, they're handled roughly. And the first thing I said, you didn't listen, and then they'll say to you, they'll kind of bow their head down a little bit and they'll say, I'll listen now. But why does it take that kind of event to shake people loose, that they need something so traumatic to start turning what they know intellectually isn't working for them? How do you reach them? It would help me in my practice. I could shake them now. And
yes.
get that alarm
Well, I
clock.
think that one of the things, Rich, is for us, you and me, to take 100% responsibility. For example, knowing that the problem sometimes maybe is not in the client, but is in us, like showing us something that we need to let go. But the idea is that respecting people. For example, when I go around the world, teaching this and talking about this, I'm not trying to convince anybody. I just share with them, and I know they are as free as I am, and they can decide what works for them. And there are a lot of people that don't want to listen. There are people that come especially to show that this doesn't work or that you are wrong and they are right, and you are going to find all different kind of people. But I think that the most important is not get as distracted, because these are amazing times. These are amazing times, amazing opportunities out there. This is a blessing. I know that some of your listeners will go crazy with me saying that this is a blessing. But if you can if you can start looking at life in a different way, if you can enjoy the time with your kids like you never did before, that you can admire or sit in nature and things that you had never done before, you will realize that you need less money of what you thought you needed. But then when you get to this point, more money is gonna come. See, this is a proof of what happens when you put money first. See, this is a very good example. Doesn't work. When you do things because you love to do them, the money always comes. But when you put money first, either it's hard, either it comes and goes, it doesn't stick. I mean, a lot of things happen.
Well, my father has an expression, which is, the shrouds don't have pockets, which means, when you get buried in Judaism, you're buried with a shroud. And he goes, there's no pockets because there's no accounting for any money that you may take with you.
Yes.
So, by the way, you are listening to Taking Care of Business. It is broadcasted from the Abrams Communication Center. We are on 89.7 FM. We are on tcbradio.com. You can find us on iTunes and at tcbradio.mypodcast.com. We are with Mabel Katz, who's phenomenal, and we are just graced with her presence here. And if you'd like to follow up on the show, please check out her website. And she speaks all over the place, so no matter where you're listening, go to her website, find out where she's going to be, and try to get on an intercept course to catch her wisdom, because in all the time that we have here today, she'll just reach out and be much more specific. So you're only getting an appetizer of what really she has to offer. And what she has to offer is really important in these challenging times. Janis Joplin had a song, and in the song, me and Bobby McGee, she says, freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. Is that really what it takes? That because it goes into risk taking. You know that the more you have, the more conservative you become. Because it's like you ask people, why don't you start a new business? Because that's what I do. I start businesses and websites and help people. And I always get, I got the mortgage, I got the kids, I got the dog, I got the hat. I can't do it. And it's like, well, you can. You're just afraid. But you always notice that the risk takers are the people who've got nothing and there's only up. So they say, you know what, I'll start this business. I'll try that idea. I'll take my last $100 and start a computer company like Steve Wozniak. Because, when we interviewed him, he talked about, being broke. And I think they spent their last $800, to get the parts to get their equipment going. But
those are the most amazing stories.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But yet, the people who have a lot are afraid to put it all on the line because they're afraid of the loss.
Yes.
And they don't have the confidence. So
that shows you that really is not about the money. Because even when you have the money, you're not happy. I know it helps. I know that a lot of people are, but when you have the money. I think that what you want is to be free. And when you are free, it doesn't depend on how much you have in the bank. It doesn't depend of what house or what car
Or
you're
how many,
driving.
yeah.
Exactly, or how many. The idea is that when you set yourself free, things come to you because the money will come, the cars will come, the house will come. But it is different. You are not so attached to it. You understand?
Oh,
So
yeah.
because the problem is the attachment that we have to things and everything that are symbols. And we decided to put in the symbols our security, oh yeah, when I have that, then I'll be happy. And then you have that and you're still not happy.
Because then you need more.
Yeah, exactly. and there is not there. That is what it happens. It is not where we are looking. We are looking in the wrong places and asking the wrong questions.
But isn't that all a function of sort of marketing and branding, which is you need X.
Oh, yes.
You need this
Yes.
car, you need this shampoo, you need this breath freshener.
Yes, yes.
Because that's what's going to make you popular, appealing, smart, all these other things.
Yes. But what we mentioned about the news, no? Is, are you going to buy it or not? I mean, all the time we are buying or not buying because every time we are choosing. All the time we are choosing what we decide to believe. We decide we decide to buy, what we decide to think, everything. What happens is we learn to deposit everything outside of ourselves. Like the power is outside of ourselves, like in having the house. When I have the house, then I'll be happy.
But is that because people need to detach themselves from responsibility so that if they fail, it's not their fault?
Why would you call something failure? Something, that's what we are always trying to avoid, failure. There is no way we are going to get what we want without failing.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we start walking, okay, what if we would have given up because we failed so many times, trying to walk? That's what life is all about. But if you learn from your what you call failure, because it's a failure only if you say it is.
That's true.
So, but if you learn, those are stepstones to get to where you want. There is no way. If you didn't fail, it's because you never tried.
Well, that's funny. I had a client the other day who said to me, I feel like a failure because his business changed over the years and he lost a lot of money. I said, it's really not about failure. It's about everyone gets knocked down, but it's about how fast you can dust yourself off and stand up again.
Exactly. Some people said, hey, failure is my vitamin. Give it to me.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if you're a big fan of Star Trek, but I remember there was an episode where they split Captain Kirk into two pieces. There was like the fraidy cat, Kirk, and the mean and aggressive one. And they didn't know how to put them back together. And they said, well, should we kill the aggressive guy? And he said, no, I need my pain. And I thought that was very telling because his pain taught him.
Yes. Got it.
And look, how many millionaires were bankrupt before they became...
It is proven rich. All these people that win the lottery 3-4 years later, they are broke. How could you explain that? You understand that for that, you have to go through failure. You have to stretch. You have to feel the fear and do it anyway. You need to stretch. You need to do certain things in order to get there where you want to get. And people are afraid to go through those things. And when they look from outside, to somebody that got there, they will say, oh, he's lucky. She's lucky. What they don't see is all the things that they went through in order to get there. They are not willing to do it. They'd rather be scared in a corner or think, oh, I was born poor, I'm going to die poor. The richers are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Those things that we decided to believe. And it's okay. But now we are adults and we can choose. We can make different choices now.
Well, what's interesting is I have a friend who's an acupuncturist, and she's a very, very smart person, and she said something very full of wisdom. She said something like, we all have different challenges, and it's each one of us has something different to push back against. So it's not really like what you're saying. It's not like, wow, this one's lucky. It's just that, well, they don't have this problem, but they have that problem, and that's what they have to push back against. Whereas this one, well, they have to push back against this, and
Yeah. The challenges, even in my book, I tell them the story of the donkey that falls in the hole and then the farmer doesn't know how to retrieve to take it out of the hole. And then he thinks and he says, well, the hole is old and it needs to be covered up anyway. He calls the neighbors, everybody gets a shovel. They all shovel dirt into the hole. In the beginning, the donkey, when he realizes what they are doing, starts screaming. But after a while, it comes down. And when the farmer gets to the point and says, okay, I'm going to check what's going on, inside the hole, he cannot believe what the donkey is doing. With every shovel of dirt that is falling, in his bag, he would shake it off and take a step up. Till at one point, the donkey gets out trotting. And so, hey, life is going to shovel dirt on you.
Or something else.
All kind of dirt. The secret is how to shake it off and take a step up.
So how do you deal with something like 9/11? I was one of the people who actually was at the World Trade Center on 9/11. I wasn't in the building, thank God, but
yes.
The court system is conveniently located a couple of blocks away.
Oh.
And on 9/11, 2001, I had my 2 litigation bags. We were doing a little commercial case. I was there at 8:30. I got there early, and the first plane hit the building. And how do you tell all the people who either lost people, suffered, lost their jobs, businesses? I mean, just that whole trauma. How do you tell people how to deal with that? Because obviously, even though there's karma, they didn't bring that on. That's a much bigger thing than the individual. How do you tell people? How do they come to grips with that? Because it's certainly beyond.
Well, I can tell you things that maybe you believe, maybe not. You take whatever it feels. I'm talking to your audience.
Yeah.
A couple of things. Did you know that there were a lot of people that had to be there and they weren't? People that the limousine forgot to pick them up. The one that somebody took the taxi from them.
A friend of mine.
The one that went back home because he forgot something.
A friend of mine did her nails.
Okay.
She actually worked in the building, broke a nail, and had her nail fixed and escaped.
So there are things that our intellects will never understand, Rich. Okay, so that's why I'm saying I'm warning you. Okay, if it feels good in your heart, you take it, and if not, you leave it. That was also another bucket or the baseball.
That was the,
and all those people in the building were advanced soul that picked that. I know, not at a conscious level, okay, but at the subconscious level is another way of waking us up. I'm not saying that was right.
Oh no.
I'm just saying that things
trauma.
Happen for a reason, and I know it will be difficult for somebody, that lost a parent, or a partner there. But if you can see it as advanced soul volunteering for us to wake up, those are closer to you than they were before, when we're here physically. So the idea is, I'm not applauding, I'm not saying, but there are things that our intellect will never understand why. And why is not the right question. So we are not going to get the right answer. This is about that when I'm telling you, when you let go, you are at the right place at the right time. And that's all you don't need to worry. You are guided, you are protected. And again, things are going to come to you, are going to happen. And then you are not going to be able to explain how come you weren't there, when that happened. But there were a lot of people that weren't there.
Yeah, no, I was, it's funny how, an event like that could be so traumatic on a personal level, a city level, on a national level, and on a world. I mean, the shock. I mean, all the people who were affected, it was unbelievable how many different levels of impact there really were, and still are to this day.
Not long ago, I met this guy that retired from being the chief editor in one of the newspapers in Los Angeles, and I told him, because of this crisis, I said, hey, this is like a 9/11. He said, this is better than a 9/11. This crisis is better than a 9/11. It's waking up people. I'm sorry, but some people will not wake up otherwise.
You are listening to Taking Care of Business with Richard Solomon. Thank you for listening. We have Mabel Katz with us, MabelKatz.com. website, Google, books. Let's talk about books.
Okay.
Also, radio and TV personality, and just a person with lots of wisdom to share. Let's talk about your current radio, TV kinds of things, speaking, books.
Well, yes. Well, the radio, TV right now is on hold because of my traveling.
Okay, but you're on other people's radio and TV, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. I
yeah.
have opportunities like you are giving me today because I love to talk about this. So somehow I attract this. I do teleclasses. I give teleseminars. I have students from all over the world. So that's what opens a lot of the doors for me. You know, now going to Europe and teaching again, you know, in different part of the world.
And I noticed that there's like different languages too. So I know that you teach in Spanish. And I saw something about like you're doing something in Switzerland, but it'll be translated into German. So
Exactly.
No matter,
and
she
the
speaks
funny
your
thing,
tongue.
Yes. I in Switzerland I was translated to French last year, but this year I'm going to be translated to German, and I actually will have to give it in Spanish because it's an Argentinian that lives in Switzerland, the one that will be translating to do German. So can you imagine? So this is the war, and thank God what I teach is universal.
Okay, so. Talk about your books and
Yes.
let's talk about all these things again. So wait, what are some of the subjects that you talk about in your teleseminars, and how do people find these teleseminars?
Okay, so the teleseminars you can find them in mabelkatz.com. You already guided them there. The teleseminar, so it's, for example, the last series I'm doing right now is called Zero Frequency. How to be in that zero state where everything that is perfect and right for you will come at the right time. How to get out really of our way, you know, so that everything can come. Then I give conferences, I do keynote speeches and things like that. Wherever, you know, they want me, I come. I love to do this. Is really my passion. My thing is that I have to get to more people. I have to get to more people.
One way you get to people is through your writings. I know there's some articles and there's some books. Let's talk. I know that you wrote a number of different books.
My main book is The Easiest Way, where I share a lot of the stories of how do I get to this and how you practice this letting go, you know. I participated, I co-authored other books like Inspiration to Realization, Thank God I, you know, and different things. I put together a thing, The Easiest Way to Wealth and Success. And I still writing about a lot of things. It's just lack of time. Like you say, how do you do time-wise, you know, with everything that we need to do? But I have a lot to share. So, you know, right now it's more about the classes than writings. But
how much is there an interplay between sort of your accounting knowledge and all of this wisdom about letting go in the business world? Where does that sort of intersect?
I think that I can answer that better if I tell you what I did when I used to represent people before the IRS. My specialty were taxes, and I love to represent people before the IRS because I really practice what I teach. I totally let go. And it was about, I'm sorry for whatever is in me that has created this, keeping my mouth shut. And the idea is that I had the most amazing results, you know, defending people with no receipts, but giving an argument that, you know, to make this money, the people had to have some expenses. If you compare one year with the other, you know, they look reasonable, and the auditor saying, yeah, you're right. I think, you know.
So you used a lot of logic, yeah.
So the idea of that sometimes you don't know where the ideas or that creativity comes from, but it just comes and it works. So that's kind of the magic. That's the place you want to really be. In that place where the guy that invented the internet said, I don't know how I got that. You know, the people that have all these incredible ideas, or that's what could happen to us every day, you know, about where did I get that idea of how to solve this problem, you know, or how did that person call me on the phone? How did she know about me, or who told her? So, because when we are in that zero frequency state that I call, you allow other people to be inspired.
How much does forgiveness
Yes.
take take hold and be a part of this letting go process?
It's totally. Because I'm sorry is what we only have to say every time we eat the apple. It's not about blaming, she made me do it. It's about, hey.
The dog ate my homework.
Yeah, exactly. So it is about, I'm sorry for whatever is in me that created this. And we are saying I'm sorry to ourselves or to our enemies that are inside of ourselves. We forgot. We thought the enemies are outside, but they are really our memories, our programs. And they are inside of ourselves. So the only way to is let go of these programs instead of making it bigger, and worse. The idea is you have the choice to really let them go.
How do you motivate people to change from being static to being active?
Okay. Hopefully I don't motivate them, I inspire them.
Okay.
That's kind of my goal. And my inspiration comes from that people can get in touch with this part of them that they forgot they had. See, we fill out our intellect with knowledge, and we are farther from the truth of who we really are. We forgot who we are. So But
why? How did that happen?
Well, I can tell you a story.
I love stories.
You love stories. They said that when God put Adam and Eve on the earth, they said, this is the paradise. You do not have to worry about anything. I can provide you with anything you need. So, but he says, but I'm going to give you a gift. And he gave them the tree of, the apple tree. And he says, listen, you do not need this. This is called thinking. You don't need it. I can provide you with anything you need, but you are free to choose. So you can think or you can follow my path. And I don't have to tell you what we decided to do. We since that day that we are looking, that was the first time that Adam had to go and find a job. Not because he ate the apple. It wasn't the problem that he ate the apple. The problem was that God came back and said, oh, the air changed. The energy is different, the vibration. And instead of Adam said, I'm sorry, he said, she made me do it. That was the first time he had to go and find a job. And since then, we are trying to find a job. See, because it's about 100% responsibility. It's about I'm sorry for whatever is in me. And forgiveness is a big point because it's one of those rocks on we don't know why we don't attract the money, why things are happening in our life. But really, we are stuck because of not forgiving. And I'm not talking about going and telling people, I forgive you. It's forgiving in our it's about in our heart, because we are not going to hurt ourselves anymore. We are not hurting anybody but not forgiven.
How do we teach this to children?
Oh, yes.
So that we could break, because if you notice, these are always like adult problems that are just passed on.
Yes.
And it's just a wave that keeps
I'll
same
tell
problem,
you,
same passing on, and the same things. How do we go to children and get them to break this pattern?
First of all, it's much easier to teach a child than an adult, because we think and we need to understand and we need to know. I think that, first of all, whatever gets erased, any memories or program from us, they will get erased from the kids. But if you tell a kid that whatever happens, he says thank you, because everything in our life is a blessing, even if it doesn't look like. Your kid is not going to ask. It's going to say, okay, thank you. He's going to go skipping, thank you. You tell this to an adult and says, do I have to mean it? How do I say it? Do I have to feel it? So this is about thank you. Thank you for everything, showing the other cheek, the cheek of love, and knowing that everything in our life is a blessing, even if it doesn't look like. But just by saying thank you.
Where does religion fit into this? Because sometimes some organized religion says it's all destiny. It's all been written, that you don't really have a say.
Yes, a say.
You just don't know, but page 262, that's you, and that's when the train wrecks.
Yes.
How do you think about that, and how does that
Well, I don't agree.
That's why I asked.
I think that we are making our own destiny with every choice we make, and not even God knows what we are gonna choose. So not even God knows what's gonna happen because it depends on our choices. So we are making our own destiny, and we can change it. And if we let go of those beliefs and what we think is right and wrong or correct or incorrect, I mean, the sky is the limit.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks, they say. How do we overcome that? Because I talk to older clients, and I get the old hand motion to the face. Rich, too old. I can't start over. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. It's too hard. Ay, gewalt, whatever.
Yes.
What lesson should how do I break through that for them?
I would tell them, look, you are happy. Please keep doing what you are doing. I mean, be my guest. See, because people have, it's a direct choice. It's a direct decision. There is nothing that you can do, but we are all free to choose, like Adam was. And then he can, if he helps, if blaming the government works for you, hey, be my guest. Keep blaming the government. But that doesn't resolve the problem. So it is about, do you really want to change, or you just want to complain because that's what you learn, you know it well, you do a good job, and just keep doing the good job.
On the other hand, how much do people really need to be challenged to be motivated?
Not everybody. I think not everybody the same. I'm gonna share my own story. Okay, so I was a person that really thought that happiness was in the material things. That was my race, in life. Accumulate. So then that house will make me happy. That car.
But then you need a bigger house for the
exactly. No. The never-ending story. Okay, so so that's the thing. But my older son, once talked to me with the same resentment and anger I used to talk to him, and that's what woke me up. I started my path. I started my own search.
That was your alarm clock.
So that was my alarm clock. See, but everybody, I mean, everybody will make their own decision. We are all free.
Wow. So what are the titles of all the books? Because
we have 2 minutes.
So the easiest way.
The easiest way to wealth and success. Thank God Inspiration to Realization.
Okay. And you can catch those on Amazon and all the other good places?
Yes, or mabelkatz.com. They have it available there too.
And your teleseminars are there and all the
everything they want to know. And if not, they can email.
What's your email?
Mabel, Mabel, at mabelkatz.com.
Now that's an easy one.
That's an easy one. If you know how to spell it, it's an easy one. Yes.
And in the last minute or so, you have some trips coming up all around the world.
I'll be in Holland, Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, and Israel.
Wow.
Coming up.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't complain.
Personal question. And do you have any time at all for like sightseeing when you go to these places? Or
yes,
I
try. No. I try because I also need to catch up. I cannot be doing this every weekend on the road. I really need time to catch up with myself. Because it seems
like you're like, do you really sleep? I mean,
6 hours a day.
Wow.
But work 7 days a week. Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
And I love what I do. So.
Well, I could see that.
Thank you.
Do you have any books coming up on the horizon that's not, do you have any like breaking news here? Anything that's coming up on the horizon?
We are going to continue with the easiest way to different areas of our life and our challenges, but that's it. I think we have to find that easiest way. It's imperative, and the sooner the better. Especially in these very challenging times. Yes. So for all those people who may be catching the tail end of this show, go to iTunes and catch the beginning, because this was Mabel Katz, Mabelkatz, website mabelkatz.com, the author of The Easiest Way, and just phenomenal resources for these very, very challenging times when you need a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of a push. And if you're feeling a little bit challenged by the external, realize that there's opportunity and there's great things down the road. So thank you for listening. You're a great audience. We appreciate you. We'll see you in a week. Thanks for listening. Bye.